To the City of Helena special budget work session, May 10th, 2023, 4 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll, please?
City Attorney Doctor,
Here.
City Manager Burton,
Here.
Commissioner Dean,
Here.
Commissioner Logan,
Here.
Commissioner Reed,
Here.
Commissioner Shirtliff,
Here.
Mayor Collins.
Here. Welcome and thank you for participating in the City of Helena special budget work session. We are pleased to be able to provide this alternative meeting format in the city's effort to broaden public participation. Please be patient as we may experience technical difficulties during the meeting. We welcome your public commentary. Please read the following tips and guidelines for the app usage and your participation. Comments, questions from the commission. I just want to read a statement. Tomorrow evening, beginning at 5 p.m., the City of Helena and Lewis and Clark County will be hosting a public board and leadership training in the Civic Center Ballroom. If you're a member of the public boards here in the city and county, we strongly encourage you to attend. The training will be facilitated by MSU Local Government Center. This commission values and respects the hours and dedication of volunteer board members provide in the service of Helena community. It is imperative the City of Helena operates in a transparent and inclusive manner, protecting the citizens' constitutional rights through fair and open processes, create a culture of accountability and legitimacy to the strategic course the city pursues with all its partners. I encourage any who are listening to participate in the training tomorrow. And if you're not listening and you know about it, please participate. You can find more details on the city's calendar. Thank you. Okay, recommendations from Helena Citizens Council, HCC representative, you have the floor. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody online?
Give me just a moment, Mr. Mayor. I do not see any hands raised from the Helena Citizens Council.
City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I just received an email at 3:44. And I'd like to, with your permission, turn it over to Director Danielson and inform the commission what that email was about.
Oh,
Goodness.
okay. So when you see Director Danielson. Okay, you have the floor, Director Danielson.
Mayor and Commission, I'm really excited to hear that we just received our 34th consecutive Certificate of Achievement Award in Financial Reporting for our fiscal 22 report. It was, I've been waiting for almost a year to hear news. So I was really excited. I didn't know that we would have it in time to file this particular report that we're wrapping up now. So I want to thank my controller, treasurer, Barb Walsh, and without her, we couldn't have gone. And it's literally hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work and hard work. And so it feels like a great accomplishment to receive that award. So excited that we got that announcement today.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Okay, at this time, we will have department reports, Public Works, Admin and Engineering fiscal year budget presentation. Director Leland and or Deputy Director Coleman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. Just going to go over all the public works budgets that we have. I'm going to start out with the admin and engineering and then industrial facilities and go on down. So we'll be asking any questions, and basically this is a status quo budget. And in the aspect of time, I'm just going to give a brief overview and then have any questions. I'd rather answer your questions and go any direction you'd like to, and then to have everyone here to be able to answer the questions. These are the people that do the work. These are the ones that put everything together, and it's the brains of the public works is everyone sitting here. And so we have Ed Coleman, the deputy director, Jamie Clark, the city engineer. We have Scott Burke, industrial facilities superintendent. Trent Shower is the utility maintenance superintendent. Ben Rigby is the water treatment superintendent. Jeff Brown is the wastewater treatment superintendent. Pete Anderson, which is a training for MOLO to be able to be certified to be able to manage the landfill, is gone this week, so he isn't here. And then Leah Anderson, our environmental manager, is here. So they'll be here to answer any of the questions, and so we can keep this rolling. And then I just want to show you that this is our org chart to show the breadth and how many people that are in public works and everything that we do. So that was just a quick overview on that, and we'll get going on the budget. We aren't asking for anything more in both public works or in engineering. Some of the goals that we're going to try and complete are ARPA. We need to streamline the development review process. Some of the issues that we're having with increased housing and the development pressures that we are seeing. We need to get a good process developed, and challenges that we have is to go in there is that we're having a hard time filling positions, especially in the engineering realm of things. Some of the engineering positions have been open for 2 years. So huge kudos to Jamie to be able to keep on task as much as he is able to do. So he has really been having a lot of pressures, but that's where we're looking at. And then also is to look at the groundwater rights. We need to get those perfected by 2025. So that's going to be our big priority because we can't, as we grow, we need more water. And if we can diversify the water that we're out there, if we have another shortage up in 10 Mile, then we can rely on the groundwater and then try and get some of the other parks and bigger users off of treated water and onto groundwater. So it'll be a vital part of what we have. And then again, the challenge is staffing, inflation, lead time on as we grow, we need.
Sorry, Ryan.
Whoa. So, you know, and I'm not going to go into every single fund, but it's staffing, inflations, lead time, and then regulations. We're getting into a lot of regulations changing, especially on the wastewater side, that could have huge financial impact and time on us. So then in admin, the only increases that we're really looking at is for training. I mean, it costs a lot of money to go to a lot of these trainings, especially with engineers, as we get new engineers, engineering techs on board, environmental pretreatment sustainability coordinator, which is all included in engineering, and admin. We need to get our people trained. We need to keep them trained and keep them up on what is the latest and best elements out there. So it pays dividends for us to do training, but that's where we're seeing the increase in admin and engineering. So that is pretty much the easiest one. We don't have that many people. So any questions?
Comments or questions from the commission? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Leland, a question. I know the environmental managers in administration, the print is very small. Is the sustainability coordinator also there?
They're in the engineering, and it is underneath the environmental manager, or sustainability coordinator is underneath the environmental manager.
Okay, and then just a quick follow-up question. Given the presentation we had and we heard about the sort of plan to develop a plan, and I know we're putting work into that, and given the scope of projects you already have in public works that are sustainability related, do you foresee a need for additional capacity there that addresses not just public works, but perhaps this is also for Manager Burton? There's a lot of sustainability work outside of public works. So I feel like maybe at this time it was a half-time position and then it got combined with something, but it looks like we're doing a lot more. So what are your thoughts on that position, where it's currently located, and will that meet the needs of ongoing projects?
Mayor and Commissioner, just signed the budget amendments today that put together all those dollars that we were talking about for us to be able to solicit a contractor to put together the sustainability plan. I think that we're making huge progress, and I know that there's plenty of work to do outside the public works arena as well. But I would also like to coordinate the prioritization of that work with the development plan. Unless there's low hanging fruit that we can pick along the way, and I know that there is. So we'll continue to work on the sustainability priorities. And through the planning process, establish with the commission what the city's priorities are throughout the entire enterprise.
And I'd just add to that, Mayor and Commissioner, is I don't feel we need more sustainability help at this time until we did get that plan done. Because of being in public works, it opens up a whole door of capacity and people and resources to be able to do stuff even outside. I mean, we're doing solar panels at transportation. We're looking at energy efficiency at all the buildings. We're looking at balers. We're helping the county out. So we are not just focused on public works. We are the biggest energy hog, I can't say, but as far as transportation and even out into parks and different areas that we can do that, we're doing the vehicle charging stations out at parks. Is we are not just focused on public works, but we have huge resources that the sustainability person can rely on.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if you want to, if this is appropriate now or later, but just since you mentioned perfecting the water rights, can you talk about what that process looks like?
You want to, or want me to?
Mayor and Commissioner, the city has a groundwater reservation, was established in 1994. I believe by Supreme Court decision. And I believe it's 700 or 7,000 acre feet per year. And that's not, no one else can use it. It's reserved for the city. It's kind of a use it or lose it thing. Once it sunsets, it allows other people to use it. And it's for the deep aquifers that's generally 200 to 300 feet deep or more. So we're not really competing with homes in the county that are putting 60-foot wells. So the decision said we had to perfect it, which just means we have to develop it and put it to use at 2025. So we have a test well drilling program. We're working on acquiring a piece of property out by the Missouri River treatment plant to put some additional wells, and then we have 3 that are ready to go that we're going to drill this summer.
And we feel like all that can be done by 2025.
It's all order. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's mostly because of waiting on drilling contract. It's just been a big hang up lately. With all the development going on in the valley. There's a lot of money to be made putting 60-foot wells for the houses. Exempt wells, and that's what we tend to be competing with. So once we get them under contract, we tend to have to wait 6 months to get them to show up.
Okay,
But it is a use it or lose it situation.
so we need to use it.
Yeah.
Mayor, Commissioners, there is a chance that we can extend that deadline, but that's not our goal at present.
Thank you.
Mayor, just Director Leland, I think, could you explain a little further the conversations you're having relative to streamlining the development review process in coordination with the other city departments?
Yeah. Mayor Commission is looking at the development end of things, is we are looking at trying to mimic some of the other cities that are out there. One particular Billings, they tend to look at development a little bit different. So we are setting and going to set up meetings, basically have a presentation meeting to come in when they have the infrastructure plans. Come in, give us a presentation. So we have a time to look and say, this is what we need to concentrate on. This is where you need to do. And then as you get comments to come forward, which we're trying to meet our goal of 15 working days to be able to get everything out. We are going to set up meetings after that comment so that we can tell them what we're looking at, what they need, and hopefully get it to be 2 rounds. And then we'll involve the different departments in there so that they can come involved, and then hopefully getting a development engineer that can encompass everything and not put so much pressure on Jamie and take more away from the transportation, and to not take it away from them, but just have one point of focus.
Thank you. Please. go
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you, Mr. Burton. That was actually a question I had, and I was
Reason right on by it, relative to the development review. Streamlining. Any input from the local development community, are they gonna be a part of that review or? Mayor Commission, yes, all the time that we have anytime we sit down and talk to people, we always get input and see how we can perfect or we can improve things and make stuff that are better for us and for them. Not just looking to do what would be best for the development. We also have to look for the city to do everything. And the engineering standards is a big part of it that we're still trying to get approved. But we have gone out to the development community, have asked them to give input on the engineering standards. So yes, we're not just doing this in a vacuum. We are taking into account all the different developers and engineers. Thank you.
And Mayor, if I could just add to that Director Brink in the Community Development Department is also a part of this effort, as is transportation and the city attorney's office. Has held an open house and has met with many in the development community on this very issue. So it's happening in different areas of the city, but it's a coordinated effort between the departments.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move along. Industrial facilities. Director Leland and or Director Coleman, you have the floor.
Mayor and Commission, looking at, this is Scott Burke. He is the superintendent of industrial facilities. This is a new department that we have, was started last year. This is to try and take care of one of the biggest liabilities and investments that the city has out there. You look at our water treatment plants, we have 3 water treatment plants, 2 water, 1 wastewater. They're big industrial buildings, lots of money, lots of moving parts. And then the shell itself, we have our superintendents that do an amazing job at treating the water and getting all of that treatment train done and filters and everything along those lines. But the shell itself has over the year not been some of the top priorities, and it's not their responsibilities. It is just something that we needed to look at. And we have 51 buildings in public works. So we have the most buildings of anyone out there, and we have pump stations, and we just have never had one person come in and take a look at all of these buildings to know what we have, what condition it is in, and then what we need to do. So that is where Scott's been in the last year, has been trying to develop basically a master plan, trying to figure out where we're at. And then this is the only spot in public works that we are asking for a position. This has always been contemplated that we will need to build the team out. So we have someone that can come in and do the maintenance on some of these buildings that have kind of fallen through the cracks. And Scott can have someone to help with everything he does. And then Scott can focus on what we need to do, where are the capital projects, how we can get energy efficiency. And that is the sustainability end of it. Is Scott is really big and works very well with Leah to come up with all of the different capital projects that we have. And those are spread out throughout all the different funds. It's not as if facilities has these in his fund. It'll come out of the pump stations, the boilers, security fences, and then we have a cabin that is actually up on the flume up by Scott Reservoir that we may not, we have to do something with it. It's falling down, but it may be historic. So we may have to do some renovations to it to shore it up. So transients aren't in there and doors have been kicked in. So we have to do something, but that's where this type of position goes. So, and then just to try and kick in.
If I could, Mayor,
Please.
I think that I would also like to let you know that this approach to industrial facilities, which is a different kind of facility than the building that we're in, this whole approach has been coordinated with Troy Sampson and this organization as well. And so everybody's heading in the right or in the same direction.
And then I see it as more of a compatibility and expanding our capacity for all of facilities than to segregate it out and be siloed. So I think it's a real benefit and we're a good partner.
Questions from the commission?
Maybe just one. So how many positions are being requested in this? Just one, okay. In addition to. So there.
Mayor Commission, Scott is already on. He came last year and then there'll be one position this year. It'll be a tech 4 position.
Director Danielson?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just gonna clarify that
Okay.
the request is to add another maintenance tech. And then there are also two others in that division, aren't they? The electrical folks that belong in that division as well. So there would be a total of 4.
Director Lee, sorry, not Director, Commissioner Reed,
Whatever.
go ahead.
So in here, it talks about 3 FTEs for things like equipment. But you said there's 4.
We're requesting 4. Or we're requesting 1, so it'll be a combination of 4 and didn't want to come into the budget is my understanding is that the budget is the status quo budget without the increase of the FTE until it gets actually approved by the commissioner or agreed upon. So we didn't want to arbitrarily say that this is going to be
So it just doesn't follow up. So this budget does not reflect the new FTE.
okay. We were going back and forth then, I guess.
Mayor, I might add that it is included in the industrial facilities, and although industrial facilities is in the general fund, it is 100% supported by enterprise revenue. So whatever their charges are in the general fund, they recruit from the revenue. So it's a neutral budget impact to the general fund.
Okay.
So the budget reflects the 4.
Or when you said that 3 FTEs in here, Scott does not get the clothing allowance in there. So it is just for the 3. Sorry, yes. Sorry, I missed, but yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Public comments? Go ahead, Commissioner. Geez, I'm screwing. up.
Mayor and commissioners, and I wonder if we can go back, and I'm not quite sure how much you can talk about this, but we've already passed the administrative and engineering budget. Can you speak briefly to where you're at in recruitment of potentially new engineers?
Mayor Commission is, we have made an offer to one engineer that is the longstanding consultant that was running one of the consulting firms that had retired. And so we made an offer. We haven't heard anything back, have we, Jamie? And then we've actually had acceptance on a senior engineering tech position. So that's good.
So at least there's some positive engagement.
It's a movement.
Yeah.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any online?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
Okay, please continue, sir.
Out of that, we'll just move on to water. And this kind of gets a little complicated because we have water treatment and then we have utility maintenance. So we have Ben and then Trent. So they both work in the same fund underneath water. Trent takes care of the distribution system and Ben takes care of the treatment. You'll see Trent a lot because he gets involved in the 3 different funds. He also gets involved in wastewater and he gets involved in stormwater. So when you're looking at utility maintenance, if we're asking for a truck and we're only putting in like $15,000 for the truck, it could mean that it's split between 3 funds. So that's just trying to how utility maintenance kind of fits in because it's their own fund to be able to look at. With that is, it's the overarching goal, of the treatment of what we're dealing with. Next one is that, ARPA is going to be our big priorities. We have to get ARPA done. It's taken up all the time and effort of Jamie to try and get that done. And then wildfire. It's always a scare. It scares us. We're always prepared. So we're looking at ways that we can do different things to be better at fire. We've done some maintenance up there, some thinning on lands that we control. We've worked with the Forest Service on that. Ben has done a good job, and then we're doing the master plan to be able to look at, or we're just getting the master plan completed for treatment to look at maybe providing pre-treatment might help us in the event of a fire. With the ARPA, we're going to do some head gates and all those projects up there. So we're looking at really focusing on that. The goal or some of the other ones is the expansion, especially on Trent's end. As the city grows, we are going to have to look at expanding all of the different mains and the stresses of just having a bigger system and not any more people. So where's the fine line if and when we have to request any more equipment or people? Then our projects, where we're going is get the groundwater, the master plan, and ARPA. And with that, the goals that we have out there, or the challenges that we have out there, is antiquated systems. Our mains are getting old. We need to continue to replace them. We do a very good job. We've only had 26 leaks, which seems like a lot, but that's pretty even for what other cities are. So that's a pretty good one on our end. Then software, that's going to be an increase for us as we continue to go into the software. And then also with the increase is chemicals and then equipment prices. Here are some of our capital projects that we have. You know, the wells, the flume, all the ARPA ones that you've already approved. We're moving ahead. We've already got a couple of them that are going to come to the commission to be awarded. We have the filter one that has been opened, and so we're getting moving on these pretty fast. Everything else is kind of on the back burner until we get enough capacity, not only internally but externally, trying to find consultants and contractors to get these jobs done once they're out the door. And then looking at it is when you're starting to look at revenue and expenditures, we're going to have a lot in here just because of the ARPA influx that we come to. We have reduced some of the mains in there's main replacement is in our CCIP. We should be targeting around $3 million for mains. But we are only doing about 1.6 million just to be able to keep balanced budget and then keep some of the rates in check. Our rate proposal that we had brought forward to the commission had proposed that we do 3.25 both in 2023 and 24. However, we feel with the ARPA and where we're at right now, we aren't going to ask for an increase this year in water. We have other priorities that we'd rather ask for the increases in than to come to water just because of the grant funding that we have received.
Can I ask a quick question?
Please.
Please go.
Mr. Mayor. Director Leland, if we do not ask for the increase now, do we anticipate that we would have to ask for a larger increase later, or do you not see that happening?
Mayor and Commission, at this point, not a whole lot more. I think we could pass it out, push it off, but with the inflation, it could, instead of being a 3.25, it could be more of an inflationary number of 5. But we will get those numbers at some point when we're talking rates coming in July.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the commission? Aside from the commission.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, so relative to the, thank you, major capital projects you've got, the Red Mountain Flume retrofit. Does that, so when Ms. Anderson gave a presentation on the sustainability successes that the city has had recently, one of the figures that was sort of staggering that she presented was the loss of water. Does that in any way help that? Like it was 70 to 80%. And I may have this wrong between Scott and Chestnut. Does that help that gap?
Mayor and Commission, that it's precisely why we are doing this project, is we're going to pipe it. So we will reduce those losses and give Ben a little more freedom to be able to control what he needs in the different head gates that come out of there. But yes, this is only, we piped the first one from Scott to Chessman, and then there's a gap in there, and then we're going to the other end. We're just trying to get the easiest that we can, and that's going to be the best. So Sally Bell is our best producer that we have for the drainage that comes in, but this will help with the reduction. At what number, we won't know yet, but we will, everything that gets in is gonna be 90% to Chestnut. From Sally Bell, from the pipe section. And we will continue to pipe it as we go.
Mr. Mayor, just comment, if you ever get
Please.
the opportunity
Okay.
to have Public Works give you a walking tour of the flume, take it. I mean, and that area, because it does sort of puts it right in front of you as to the great need that exists in that part of the system. And so, yeah, pretty cool. And to see the wildfire mitigation that's going on up in that area. It's a lot of good work.
I'm available.
It is really cool. Mayor and Director Leland, or the city attorney, could you also explain or present to the commission what you've done up in that upper 10-mile drainage with the water master?
Oh, Mayor, Commissioner, you want to go, or Ben, you want?
Mayor, Commissioners, this is a project that we started when we first got on, when I first started, so about a year ago. There are some water rights that were, to use someone else's words, being used wrongly, that weren't theirs. And so we actually have now water commissioner that is appointed to the drainage to actually oversee water rights and the proper use of the water rights in that area. We've got that appointed through the district court judge here, and I think he's started now already this spring, which is the first time he's actually gotten to get down on the ground, because he was appointed pretty late in the season last year. But I think he's already been out and ensuring that our water rights are properly being administered up there. And he actually, because he's appointed through the district court, he actually has some authority to require landowners to take the proper amount of water rights in the drainage, as opposed to just trying to work things out between neighbors. So I do think this could be a really helpful way to ensure we don't have others that are stealing water from the city. And I guess that's what I would say on that right now. If there's anything else, let me know and we can answer questions.
Questions from the commission? Public comments? Madam Clerk,
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
please continue, Director Leland.
Okay, moving right along, we're gonna switch to wastewater. Now we have Jeff Brown, which is the treatment superintendent, and then Trent again. So again, this is kind of where we look at the district or the collection system and then the treatment. So you can look at. Oops. There we go.
You may not have to go on.
You know, we have water treatment, then as part of this. As part of this, we also have industrial pre-treatment. That is also Leah that is taking on the pre-treatment. Yeah, she's done a great job in combination with Ed to bring us back into compliance. We did go with the EPA, but we are doing really well right now and have everything back in line where it should be. So we have the pre-treatment. Also, we have the biosolids, and then looking at utility maintenance, we have lift stations that are part of it, the collection, and then just some of the other utility parts of it. The goals and priorities is energy efficient. We're looking at a master plan. This is another one, because we're at the time we need to get all our master plans updated, and this is a good time because the state is looking at renewing our permit to the wastewater discharge. And so we need to look at that and be able to give you information and enough information to be able to make an informed decision as far as what the different levels may be when they come forward with the permit and how much that may or may not cost. So we are looking at that right now. That's going to be some of the biggest challenges that we have out there. We are gonna continue on the distribution side, which you can move forward. Is same things, timely response to the developers, but also shared services. This is what I like to call sins of the past. We sometimes make decisions that are the easiest, but they end up coming back to haunt us. And so we have ones where services go underneath people's homes and they are no longer owned by the same people. And some people don't let other people dig up their yards or their houses. So as a program that we've had going forward is we put in $100,000 a year to actually extend mains. So you'll see us go through and start to install mains at the city cost to get these shared services offline, because it is a true nightmare and it takes a lot of our effort to be able to do that. So that's one we're going to concentrate on.
Quick question, if I might, thank you, Mr. Mayor, Director Leland, do we have a sense of how many shared services there are throughout the city? Is there a map, or is it we find it when we find it?
Mayor, Commissioners, outside of quite a few, not really, they tend to pop up. Since we don't own that actual infrastructure, and we have been the ones that installed that, we don't have a lot of direct knowledge of what takes place, what's that needs to be. Especially in older areas of town, there are spots where it's come down between houses. Two houses here on this street, the two accounts pass will all collect in one single service and come down and tie in. Generally, we don't find out about it until it's an issue. Unfortunately. The issue comes up, we don't ever have with that. Wow, and we thought it just went to this house and come to light. There's 3 or 4 houses like that, and that's when the director Raymond said at that point we'll explore a project to take that main, extend it across the front of those properties, and then let them each individually connect to it. So.
Thanks. How do you prioritize which mains are, I mean, as they come up, or do you have a way that you prioritize which ones you're replacing?
Mayor, Commission, how we basically do it is, like Trent said, is there's usually a problem. We will have people come in, and if there isn't a problem, then we'll put them on a list. But a lot of the times we have people backing up into the lower services house and the upper one. So it's usually a problem. And if there's a problem or a break, that's how we prioritize it. Other than that, then as people come in, we just take them off the list. There's a list that we have of areas that are out there. You can add to it, Jamie. Like,
Mayor, Commission, it's always the downhill person that complains on the ceilings. Uphill person's happily pushing your way when the basement drain of the downhill shared service. They tend to get allocated a year. They tend to get allocated a year in advance. I don't know how to use it on. Currently, we have one on flowers.
Comments from the public?
Mr. Mayor, I have no public comment online.
Please continue, sir.
Mayor, Commission, one I'd like to add on the wastewater side of things, as far as rates, we have a rate study that says that it'd be 2 per year for 23 and 24. We will be coming forward after the budget is completed to be asking for a 4% raise for the wastewater end of things and the expenditures. We are taking out considerable amount of SRF loans, which we are getting a $375,000 loan forgiveness. So we are getting a lot of grants and loans, and we're doing well. But overall, we do need to catch up with that and get on the same page, especially with the upcoming chemical costs that we're going to see, and also the regulations. So we will be coming back for a 4% increase in the future.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
just really briefly, I think one thing that might be helpful, because I think these kind of, I mean, I have the pool on my mind, but I think people see those rates as one thing because it's something that they do, it's what they enjoy. They go do, they're physically like handing over money for something. When we talk about increasing these rates, I think it might be helpful if we maybe have like an explainer as to, these are the kind of services that we need to be able to continue to provide, and this is how it keeps you safe, and these are the ways that we've gotten to this number, and why it's necessary. I think that might be a lot easier for not just us to explain, but whether it's Jake or otherwise, because I think water and wastewater rates are just kind of an abstract thing that people don't really think much about, except for, coming out of the closet, whatever I can possibly with.
Please.
Mayor, I might address that. We have that information in the in-depth rate study that we've gone into with our consultant with FCS Group. It has pretty complex water and wastewater rate models that we used. That they used in order to propose those increases, and it's all built on, your current operations plus inflationary factors, and also needed long-range capital improvements. It's all built into that. It also factors in customer growth. But we have that information. I think that we can probably put a summary format together.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just something that simply explains this is what you're getting for this.
Yeah, we will have all of that. And then they even looked at different ones as far as cost of services, where you have residential, multifamily, and commercial. Wastewater, who should be paying for more because of the treatment with the flow, but the BOD and the concentration of that. So we have all that. And this was just to give you a heads up that this will be looking at that, but we have that information that we will be bringing forward when we actually ask for that rate.
Any other public comment? Any other comments from the commission? Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Mr. Mayor, it does not appear I have any public comment on one.
Please continue, sir.
Mayor and Commission will move to stormwater. This is going to be another quick one that's out there, and this is just Trent. No one else, he has his own in there, so it's just Trent. This is to take care of all the stormwater, not only treatment, but capacity to flow through and be able to treat it and stay in compliance with our MS4, which we is helping with or is doing the MS4. That's our discharge permit for the stormwater. So those are the two that actually get mainly involved. This is one as far as capital, I can say has now started to see impact of not having engineers on staff. So we haven't had a stormwater engineer for a year. And so this is just one that is very hard. That's kind of gotten pushed off just because we do not have capacity in that. Some of the goals that we're going to look at is being able to maintain the system that we do have, get the treatment capacity back going again, and just maintain all the ponds and all the ditches and everything that we have for the treatment. And then again, as the MS4, the unique challenges that we have out there is just making sure we have mapping correctly, because this is another one that's kind of diverse and it has changed over time. So some of the treatment is actually on private property. So we have that is going to be maintained by private property. So we have to make sure we have all of those mapped out correctly. The capital improvement that we're going to do is a lining project. We've done many of those before. We're going to line the old main that goes in Neil. And then the other one is somewhat that we do have because of the flood that we had out there in Last Chance Gulch, is we are putting money in to do a study to see about capacity and can we put another line in, what it's going to take, because Centennial Park is a landfill, as we know. So putting a line in there is not feasible. So we need to figure out a way to be able to route stuff around. So we're going to look at it and see, is it feasible and can we design it and move forward. And then we're doing a rate study on stormwater of what we need to do. This one is just status quo and try and get caught up on projects that have already been allocated last year and have already been budgeted. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Comments or questions from the commission? Public comments? Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, I have no hands raised online and no written public comment.
Thank you. Please continue, sir.
This is our last one that we have out there. It is solid waste. This is by far our most complicated division that is out there. It has 5 different funds. And then on top of the 5 different funds, we also have interlocal agreements with Lewis and Clark County. So it is actually a total solid waste system that we have going on, that we are currently doing a master plan in to look at different improvements and where we want to go to be able to either expand services. So we can talk about rates to be able to expand services, keep status quo of what we're doing. But looking at it, the 5 different ones that we have is residential collection, commercial collection, landfill monitoring, which is Centennial Park, is we have a closed landfill, so we have to continue to monitor that. That's a requirement by EPA. And then we have the transfer station and we have recycling. So you have a lot of different funds that are out there, and how you pay for all these different funds does get very interesting. So we will try and dive into that a little bit. You can ask how far we want to go. The main goals that we want to go with the solid waste is customer services, expanding diversion, maintaining our relationship with Lewis and Clark County. We have interlocal agreements of where Lewis and Clark County or Scratch Gravel come in and use our transfer station. So they pay us a tipping fee. With the interlocal, then we take all of our collection of the solid waste and take it out to the landfill. And through another interlocal agreement, which is due this year, is up for renewal this year, is the city is managing the landfill. So we managing the composting and the landfill, which has been a great relationship. It has saved us hundreds of thousands of dollars through the years. And Lewis and Clark pays us money to be able to manage that landfill and then also do the permit side of things. So we are going to ask to have that agreement renewed for another 5 years. So we can continue to have that relationship, and it has very good customer response of being able to have the permits for scratch gravel at the transfer station controlled by the city. So that's one that we have available.
Mayor,
Yes,
and I think it's important to put this into context, and it's similar to the discussion, Commissioner, that we had earlier relative to water rights and the ability for the city to essentially double in size. But when we originally cited Site E, I think the life of the landfill was 80 years.
The life of the landfill when we first, it was 40 years.
Was 40 years. What is it now? Pete's not here. I
Yeah.
think it's like 120 years.
It's over 100 years.
120.
That's a very good position to be in.
At least I'll be gone.
And then another one that not only with how we manage landfill and be able to do growth and everything, but through this relationship, we've expanded our composting, which is becoming very, very good. Now it is food grade, so we can sell our compost to use in gardens. We're doing it in mainly bulk selling it, but we use it on our projects, county projects, and then mainly going back to reclaim the cells as we close them. We have to mitigate or enrich the soil, so we are using that compost, but we are looking at expanding it. Leah's put in for a couple of grants along with Miranda to be able to look at being able to even do more out there and get it done faster. So that's been something that we'd really like to maintain and keep. Please.
Just for the public who doesn't understand, how does someone compost at the landfill? How do people do that?
Well, the landfill, the composting is, we take our green waste from the transfer station. That's the brush and the grass clippings, and then we chip it. So you'll see in recycling that we do have a chipping contract that goes out there, and then we chip everything up there. So we take all that chips, goes out to the landfill, and then we take our bio waste from our wastewater facility. And those are the main 2 components that we mix together to be able to try and get, but we are looking at possibly through the master plan of using food waste to be able to increase the composting. We put them in rows and then we let the bugs do what they do, and we mix it and windrow it. And we haven't included air yet, but that is something that we will be contemplating to be able to add air. Then we rotate it, and through time, it just all comes into dirt, and then we screen it.
And Mayor, Director, it's my understanding that some of that product may be available to the public market this year.
Yes, it is available for purchase by individuals at the landfill. It is $60 a ton, which it seems like that's a substantial amount. It's a very heavy product. So minimum of 1,000 pound purchase right now, because we have applied for a grant for a bagger. We do not have a bagger yet. And so the most efficient way for them to load an individual is with our loaders that are out there. They're quite large. So minimum of 1,000 pound purchase, so $30 per 1,000 pounds.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Thank you. And in addition to the comment that Manager Burton made relative to Site E, doesn't the county own another 160 acres adjacent to Site E?
Mayor Commission, yes, they do. That just has not been part of the permit or permitted yet, but they have that in control of it, and that for future expansion after the 100 and some years.
Thank you.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
please, go.
I guess it's probably larger groups that would be purchasing as of right now, but what are we doing to maybe let the public know that that's available?
So we just got the analytical results back to make sure that it was food grade. So right now, because it's our first year, we're just putting it out. So this is the compost that you can buy at Garden Works. If you're looking for smaller quantities and aren't looking for 1,000 pounds, things like that. We're not putting the word out there a lot yet. We were actually hoping to see if we actually got the funding for the bagger. Because that would allow people to purchase it, individuals to purchase it at quantities that are a little bit more to what the average gardener would use. But yes, so since this is the first year, we haven't done a lot of advertising on it yet. We need to see how this is.
Super exciting.
So
Congratulations.
did I kind of jump the gun?
No, you're good.
Then just want to keep going is some of the challenges that we are having, especially on the residential end of things, is you just be able to keep really good customer services, all our services that we do offer out there, and keep our assessment low with the pressures of increased inflation, and then also with just the curbside recycling subsidy that we're providing that comes out of residential solid waste. That's why we will end up asking for the $1.50 a month to be able to increase it. Just with all of those pressures, we are going to have to ask for an increase on that one. So that's the hardest thing that we have as far as challenges in the solid waste end of things at this time. Then I just want to point out that with recycling and why we're paying residential or the curbside through residential instead of recycling is the county pays $250,000 into recycling, so does city residential. Since curbside recycling is only in the city, the county doesn't want us to be using their funds to benefit something into the city. So we're just paying it out of the residential fund right now. And then looking at it, the other hard thing that we're getting is just lead times on our trucks. We were actually at a waste expo last week. That's why I had switched. We were seeing if there's a way that we could just take some of those trucks home that were on the floor. They didn't let us. Maybe someone got caught trying to take one out, but that's all right. Just kidding. So with that, the only other thing that we have is with residential, why it looks so good, and kind of skipping around and just is why the residential fleet says that we have our expenditures and we have $150,000 roughly is our 2 collection trucks for 2023 and 24. We're going out for an intercap loan to try and spread that out. Typically, we don't like to have equipment on loans. We'd rather just save up the money and be able to purchase it. That's how we've done things in solid waste. But right now, because we are looking at a master plan and kept our rates or assessments so low, we are gonna have to go for a intercap loan on that end of things. So again, we came to the commission, did a presentation. We'll be coming back with a resolution to ask for $1.50 a month for resolution or for residential. Then the other end of things is because of the interlocal agreement, we pay a tipping fee to Lewis and Clark County for the landfill. They have reduced the landfill tipping fee by $2 a ton. They have asked us to pass that through to the transfer station to lower the transfer station tipping fee by the $2 a ton so that it helps out on the scratch gravel end of things in the county, so it helps them out. So we will be coming forward for that pass through of the $2 a ton of the tipping fee for the transfer station. So that will have to be done sooner than later for the county. So we will be bringing that forward in June, just is to be able to pass everything through that the county passed.
You bet. So were you looking at
Sorry.
me? I know you got
Yes.
questions.
So on the curbside, well, can I ask about that right now? So we had the kind of issue earlier in the year of deciding to cover the additional increased cost. Is that included in here now still? Okay,
It's just, if it can I ask a quick follow-up, Mr. Mayor? So, given all that, recycling looks like it has an excess of 105,000. On this, can you help me?
Mayor, Commissioner, yes, we have in recycling, we have $100,000 of cash. Talking to the county and the city is we could reduce amount that we bring in from the county for instead of the $275,000, we could reduce it by the $50,000 to basically have a zero. But talking to the county and talking with the city and everything, it'd be better to have some cash in the recycling. But then again, we can't use that for the curbside recycling because it has county money in there. So that is where it gets very complicated because of the interlocal agreements and we don't have control of all the money. I guess best way to put it.
maybe I could follow up on that. Then are they still abiding by the for every additional 1,000 customers, the rate decreases by $1? That's not in place anymore. Okay.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor,
Please.
Commissioners, so the other reason why they would like cash reserves and recycling is because we are undergoing the master plan. And recycling is a big portion of that. So we would like to have some money in the bank so that we could address some of the ideas that come out of the master plan.
Comments? Oh, yes, Director Danielson.
Thank you. I might add to that the recycling fund is projected to overspend by 55,000 in fiscal 23. So if you take that into consideration with that $100,000 debt overage, it's only equates to about a $50,000 overage.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission? Madam Clerk, public comments. Oh, geez, are you done?
I have one more thing to add,
Sorry.
Commission.
I'm ready to roll, man.
Sorry, Mayor Commission. I just wanted to bring up that one thing that you said was not, that you'll see is not included in this is the service line replacement loan program. We didn't know, we are ready to talk about that. That is very complicated, but we didn't want to sidetrack this one and didn't know how long it would go, but we will be bringing it back at the future next or the one after meeting for the admin for the budget. So we have just a few things to work out with fiscal, but we have the presentation fairly close, just trying to get a few numbers the same. So we have not just blown it off. We are ready to talk about it and we will come up with the different options that we have.
Thank you. Comments from the commission? Public comments? Madam Clerk?
Mayor, I have no public comment on mine.
Okay. Well, thanks for your, oh geez, okay, go ahead,
Mayor,
Commissioner.
I had scheduled that for 2 hours, so I'm expecting more questions. so that we could all be here since six.
You really did. You know what? I hear what you say. We'll leave you here to answer those questions. So, thanks for your presentation to all of you. Thank you. At this time, is there anyone from the public wishes to address the commission? Madam Clerk. Anyone?
I have no further comment on my
This meeting is adjourned.